Okay, welcome to Questions with Catherine. This is an opportunity to ask me any questions about my courses, my offerings, as well as I've got loads of questions that were filled in the survey that I sent out ahead of the Single and Childless, Finding Love as a Single Childless Woman workshop. So I'm going to look at some of those, but I am going to do a recap of some of the things very briefly that we talked about on that workshop. So let me just as a reminder of why we're here. So my work is around finding healthy love. And I want to say actually on recording, because there was, I don't believe that we need a partner or a relationship to make us happy. I don't believe that there's something wrong with us if we are single. Singledom can be amazing, wonderful years. But I do believe that if we are in emotional pain in our relationships, in our romantic relationships, that it is worth trying to do something about it. And that was my story. I was in emotional pain in my romantic relationships. I knew that I wanted to do something about it. And these are the people I work with. These are the women I work with, women who might be in pain because they're not in any relationship or haven't been in a relationship or are isolating or not trying. They might be in pain because of repeated patterns in relationships. They might be lonely. They might be tired of being single. So I work with people who do want to change that status. And we also talk about thriving as a single woman, which is really important, living to our potential and so forth. So I shared this on the Single Childless workshop, and a reminder that we don't want to have the cart before the horse, because we will go nowhere. We want to have the horse before the cart. So we want to have things in the right order. And, this is what I mean by this is if we go dating or trying to have a relationship without healthy foundations, we will end up in a mess, in pain, hurting and getting hurt. So the foundations come first. The foundations come first because with weak foundations, we are just an example of weak foundations. We're disconnected from ourselves and our feelings. Therefore, we cannot connect with someone else and with their feelings. We're not able to be vulnerable. We're not able to be real. We're frightened of feeling our feelings or of connecting with their feelings. Weak foundations would be low self-esteem, low self-worth, a lack of awareness of our fears. So sometimes, I have lots of women who say, like, after a first date, I don't want to see them again. I don't think that person's right for me. And we want to be curious about that. We want to be really curious. And if we have a good awareness of our fears in relationships, we will be curious and we'll go, is this my fear or is this my truth? Is this my fear or is this my intuition? And we will find our answer. And maybe we'll give that person another go, another date. So we want to be really clear of how our fears lead us away from relationships and also lead us into unhealthy relationships. We want to know how our fears create unhealthy patterns, and we want to work on any craving for love, affection, company, connection, affirmation, validation, because again, that leads us into trouble if we are craving. So we want to turn down the volume on any craving or desperation or panic or any of those things that can get us into trouble. And I talked about the vicious cycle. Weak foundations, poor boundaries, unresolved pain, fear of intimacy and commitment, low self-esteem, craving love, no support. that leads us into unhealthy relationships. We can't say no. We say yes when we mean no. We attract people who don't value us. We attract emotionally unavailable people. So then that leads us to getting hurt or hurting others. The relationship breaks down. We feel abandoned. We feel rejected. We feel not good enough. We feel like a failure. We feel faulty. And then that leads to even lower self-esteem. We lose hope. We say all men or women or all people are useless, unavailable, rubbish. So we form these unhelpful beliefs. We build up our defenses and we feel even worse about ourselves. And then the whole cycle starts again. Or maybe we just don't date again because it's too painful. So the problem of going dating or looking for love with poor foundations is we end up in a vicious cycle where it goes wrong. We don't want to do it again. We feel worse about ourselves. We're a failure. It goes wrong. And it's just, yeah, we want to get off that merry-go-round and into a healthier way of dating. So we want to ask, in what condition am I dating? And I've got both conditions here. I've got less than, or I feel enough. I'm undernourished, undernurtured, or I'm well nurtured. I feel unlovable, or I feel lovable. I'm shaky with shaky foundations, or I'm solid. I'm broken, or I'm healed to a degree, because it is always progress, not perfection. And some of our healing happens in the relationship, not necessarily before the relationship. I'm loving myself. I've got those the wrong way around. I'm either not loving myself or I am loving myself. I'm disconnected to myself or I'm connected to myself. I'm disconnected from others or I'm connected to others. So in what condition, and this is about being really honest with ourselves, because we might want a relationship, we might want love, we might want to go dating, but in what condition am I doing this? So healthy foundations, connection to self, healthy self-esteem, awareness of patterns. Why am I drawn to unavailable people? Awareness of fears, my fears of commitment, of abandonment, of rejection. Have I begun to change my patterns and face my fears? Can I set healthy boundaries? Do I know my worth and my value? Can I date and relate? Have I got support to date and relate so that I'm not doing it on my own? And I often use the imagery of the tree. You know, I showed you the withered tree, the broken tree, the undernourished tree, and this is the healthy tree. Solid trunk, stands tall, self-worth, believes in itself, deep roots, healthy foundations, flourishing. So again, progress, not perfection. We do not need to be perfect before we go out there, but we want a good degree of healthy foundations. So we have a virtuous circle. So we have our foundations of boundaries, awareness, insights. We've done some healing of our wounds. We are emotionally available, healthy self-esteem. We feel enough. We're well supported. So we have these healthy foundations. So then we're able to say no. Then we're able to walk away from people we don't want to be with. We are able to walk towards people we want to be with. We attract healthy people. And we date as an adult, not as a wounded child, and we enjoy the experience. I've had lots of people sort of laugh when I say, let's enjoy dating. And we have positive experiences. And that is a virtuous circle, because our self-esteem grows, we feel hopeful, we enjoy dating, we enjoy our lives. We're not wasting loads of time and energy on machinations and self-doubt and should I stay with that person or leave that person? We have space, we have energy for our dreams and our lives. And that's a virtuous circle. So what I want for you and anyone who comes to work with me is that we put the horse before the cart. So we put the foundations in place first, and that's how we move forwards. So that's what I want. That's what my desire is for anyone I work with, to move forwards rather than to go round in circles. And, you know, I know that many people have been going round in circles or perhaps not even trying. So I think, you know, my goal is to help you to move forwards. This is, I'll talk a little bit about these things and show you the links, but so there's 3 levels of working with me. Belonging to a community, the Love Collective community. I ran that through August. We will have a group call every month. I will be in the Telegram group, which is like WhatsApp, to answer questions. But the primary goal of that is for you to feel less alone, to feel like you belong, and to have people you can call on day and night. Not necessarily call on, but put a message. I'm going on a date. I feel shaky, or I've just been on a date. I felt this, or he said this, or she said this, and I need help, or I've got this challenge, I've got this relationship challenge. And that community is for all women. There are many women without children in my community. That is the majority. But in the August experience that we had some women with children who are also struggling in their relationships. And that community covers not only love and relationships, but also your life, fulfilling life, self-love and self-care. And then a more sort of tailored approach, a more accelerated approach, an approach to help you to move forwards, to build the foundations and date with courage, clarity and confidence, would be to take one of my group programs, and they're both launching on October the 2nd, and the calls will be combined. So there'll be Q&A calls. So wherever you are in the program, you can come on a call and ask a question and be with others and share with others and feel less alone. And then a lot of material you will read through and watch, videos, worksheets in your own time, and you will bring that to the group calls and to your group. And that does include membership of the Love Collective as well. So you have a smaller group and a wider group. So lots of support, opportunity to go to lots of calls, up to 3 a month in place right now. And then you could combine any of those things with one-to-one coaching. So I build you a package of number of sessions, potentially. Most people who do one-to-one coaching take a self-paced course and do their work with me in the one-to-one coaching. But you can do group program and one-to-one and community. We can tailor it to you. And I also, you know, this is all online work, but I am, if anyone is anywhere near me in Dorset or would like to travel, I have had someone travel from Colorado before to one of my retreats, but I will be hosting retreats in 2024. And I will be doing some workshops, including sauna on the beach, sauna and share sessions. So there are face-to-face opportunities as well if you can get to this part of England. I'm going to talk through those. I'm going to come back to the questions. I'm just going to stop sharing this and then show you. I'm just going to share something else. I'm just going to share this. This is a testimonial I recorded recently. Can you see that? I think you can see a face of a woman. And, you know, I believe that we all have our strengths. And one of my strengths is, you're going to hear one of my strengths now. So this is what Pip says. I'm going to put this together and edit it and send it out. But this is her testimonial of doing the Laying Foundations course. But I just wanted to show you this small section.
I chose the course after following your work for quite some time, so I was already aware of some of the work you were doing, but was kind of hadn't decided whether or not that was the right thing for me at the right time. But I knew, I was aware of your work, and so I was already following you and seeing what you were doing. And it was having a discovery call with you where I wasn't sure whether to work one-to-one or whether to do a course. But it was during the discovery call that I realized how much, very quickly on the discovery call, you just opened my mind to what has actually been going on my whole life. And so in a very quick discovery call, I knew that you were immediately the person to work with, because in the discovery call alone, I had so much value. And we identified so much that had been impacting me my whole life. So the trauma that I was carrying, the childhood trauma, and understanding that in just that short call, how that had a knock-on effect, was really, really profound. So
now, just give me a thumbs up if you could actually hear the volume on that. Okay, good. And so, we all have our gifts, but I believe that is one of my gifts. And all of our gifts were honed in our circumstances, and my circumstances in my childhood involved being around alcoholism and feeling unsafe and being very sensitive to my surroundings. And in a way, that's, on the one hand, that's a bit of a handicap. I'm super sensitive, hypersensitive, very, very affected by my surroundings. But also I am super intuitive, and I hear what's happening underneath. If you explain a situation, I will get underneath, and I will know what's happening. And this is one of my strengths, and I say this unapologetically because I know it is one of my strengths, and also because of my own patterns in relationships, because of 20 years of self-discovery, deconstruction in order to reconstruct, lots of therapy, studying counseling and psychotherapy, and working with a lot of women. And my therapist is brilliant at this, and I think I am brilliant at this too, because we see so many people with the same patterns, and so you can see them and you understand them and you know where they come from. And a lot of people who come and work with me, I say to them, because they might come feeling hopeless, but when they present their situation to me, I say, I don't think you're that far off where you want to be, because it's clear what we need to deconstruct so that we can reconstruct. So, I really love doing this work, because it's good when we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, right? When we're living to our potential. So I just want to, I can't find the right screen. Maybe it's this one. Sorry, I need to stop sharing that. I just want to find my way to, this one. Okay. So just very briefly, I'm going to walk you through the various links, and then we can have some questions. So this one is what I want to share. So these are my coaching and courses. You might have seen this already. I'll start here in the membership. It says course. It's not a course. It's just I can't figure out how to get rid of that word. It's a membership community. I do need a critical mass in order for this to be effective, and hopefully we'll have, because we had 25 during August. So we have a call every month. We have Q&A sessions within the Telegram group, so you can ask me questions and I will answer them. And that's where I get to do what I do best. So, you know, you ask me a question and I give you an insightful answer. So this is accessible, really accessible. It's £30 a month, which I imagine is about maybe $40 a month. Or you can pay in one payment for the 3 months. And we obviously run up to Christmas and through Christmas. This is an opportunity to be supported at what is often a challenging time. There's some testimonials there from women who joined me in August and what is included. So there's that. And then, oh yeah, I wasn't supposed to do that. I had them all arranged in the right order. So this is Laying the Foundations course. So that starts October the 2nd with regular group coaching calls. You can see some videos here of participants who've taken the course before. And I'll try and get pips together as well for you to see that. But Joyce, for example, said she did both my courses and coaching with me. It has been truly transformational for me as an individual. Alice, you might have heard Alice on some of our group sessions. She's one of my ambassadors in a way, because she's always sharing wonderful things. She's now in a healthy relationship. So you can listen to those. There's lots more testimonials. I have engagements, I have weddings, and I have people who have changed their lives and found a different way of living. So not everyone wants to have a relationship at the end of this journey. Perhaps the first stage is to feel more connected to yourself, more in love with yourself, more in love with your life. And then everything else flows from that. So I don't think it's on here, but there's 5 steps here. And it's actually, you can read all the steps on the self-paced link, which is also on the course page. So connection to self, connection to feelings, feeling my feelings, open to my feelings, able to be vulnerable with myself and others. That's kind of module 1. Self-esteem, self-confidence, emotional resilience, feeling rooted and grounded. I don't get knocked over if something goes wrong. I stand tall. I might wobble, but I stand tall. So rooted and grounded emotionally, spiritually. And then these 2 really meaty modules around what are my patterns, where did they come from, what are my fears, where did they come from, how do I face my fears, how do I change my patterns. So that's 3 and 4. And then the final module is around letting go. Letting go of lost loves, letting go of dreams that didn't work out, letting go of the life we thought we'd have, letting go of core beliefs that we're carrying. And so this is kind of your deconstruction and reconstruction. It's the inner work. And then the other course is, and both of these you can take self-paced and you could combine them with, I've got smaller courses as well. Sorry, I went off target tangent. You can combine the self-paced courses with the collective if you like, or you take them as a group. So Date with Courage, Clarity and Confidence, what I call the outer work. So we've built our healthy foundations. We take the show on the road and we test out our foundations, because there's no point like building these foundations. It's not about like sitting in a meditation pose or going on retreat and feeling on retreat for all of our lives. It's about living and relating, and we take the show on the road because we've built our foundations. So this course, if I can remember all its modules, we have a module on boundaries with ourselves, boundaries with others, why it's hard for us to set boundaries, how we can set boundaries. We have a module on throwing away the list so that we are more open to different types. We understand why we've always gone for the same type, but we're open to different types. And we have a vision for the person we want to be and how we want our lives to be. There's a module on making time and space for love in our lives, because many of us don't. We prioritize everything else. There's a module on trigger points. So this is when our buttons are pressed in dating or relationships, like, oh, I don't like that. I really don't like the way he does that, or the way she does that, or that, you know, that pushes my buttons, or I can't stand that. I can't be with that. That's not for me. What is going on? What is really going on for us? So we understand our trigger points. And we build we make bold choices. We create the life that we love. We make really courageous choices. And this might be in career, in friendships, in relationships, self-care. We make bold choices. And that often leads us into the relationship that we actually want. And I wonder if I've missed out a module. But I'm just going to show you the self-paced version. So the self-paced version of both of these, I think it has all the modules written out, so you can have a closer look. Yeah. So understand your trigger points, throw away the list, make time for love, set healthy and loving boundaries, and make bold choices. So that's that's Date with Courage, and this one as well. It's got them all written out. I think. Step inside, strengthen your core, identify unhealthy patterns, do things differently, let go of lost loves. Right, I am just going to see what else I got ready for you. This is a link to my coaching page. I'll put these in the chat. And this is a link to my discovery call page. And I think that's everything I wanted to share. So while we're still recording, if you have any questions, pop them in the chat. And if you have a question you'd prefer to ask live, either unmute yourself knowing that you'll be recorded, or wait for a few minutes and I'll switch the recording off. So I am going to, while you're thinking of any questions, I'm going to put those links in the chat. And if there aren't any questions, I will, you probably have these links already, but if there aren't any questions, I'll switch the recording off. So that's all the courses there. And you can navigate that page. So I won't necessarily put the individual ones in. And that's the coaching page. That's for one-to-one that can be combined. And this is my discovery call. Yeah. Oh,
Can you hear me okay?
I can. Yeah. Are you happy to ask on recording?
Yeah, it's just clarification on the different courses that you had. The breakdown between the belonging and the other two, the transform and the transform VIP, are they progressive, that if you just choose one, or if you choose the middle one, transform, it includes the belong? And if you choose VIP, it includes belong and transform and VIP, like that?
If you choose the transform, so the group program, it includes the collective. So for example, you would pay $6.95 for the foundations, which includes your calls that belong to the foundations, but you would have the collective as well at £30 a month for October, November, December. So you don't need to pay the collective, it includes it. In terms of the one-to-one coaching option, it can include all those things if you want it to. I do have people who do a group program, add on one-to-one, and then the collective would always be part of. You would always have part of the collective. But if you did one-to-one coaching and you wanted to add a group program, there's a discount on the group program, but it's not, you don't get the whole group program as well as the one-to-one, if that makes sense. Or you could do one-to-one and add in a self-paced program, which is very common. So some people, they don't necessarily want to do the group work in a group of women. They want to do one-to-one with me, but they want to work through the course in their own time, bringing the insights and the discoveries to our sessions. But if you did that, you would also have access to the collective, the broader community. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for asking. How about does anyone have any, just if you have any other questions about the courses, I just want to whiz through a few questions that came up in the surveys just about dating and relationships. And then I can switch the cameras off and we can have a chat about anything else. I won't be able to cover them all. But I just want to, refer to, especially for people who might be watching on recording, there was a question about scared of being hurt again. Yeah, I'm scared of being hurt again. How do I go dating when I'm scared of being hurt again? I guess many of my answers will come back to the little presentation I gave, because my answer to that is we don't do it alone anymore. We might have gone dating in the past without a buddy, without a group, without a community, without anyone to check in with before or after, without a coach. So we don't do it alone, and we don't do it in the vicious cycle. We do it in the virtuous circle. So if we're scared of going dating again, we make sure that we have really healthy foundations, we have really strong roots, and that we have support. Just see. Somebody asked about how do I date without going on dating sites, and there are lots of thoughts about the annoying dating sites, and so for that question, I mean, I would say we have to be in it to win it, and so I wouldn't necessarily not go on dating sites. I often suggest that people take a break if they have felt, if they feel really down or it's really not working. But the key is the foundations. It's living our best life, which sounds like a cliche, but it is true. Living our best life, living an authentic life, showing up, making connections with people, reaching out to people, being part of groups, and there was another question of, I've done all this, I've done all the meetup groups, I've done the membership group, I've done all, I've gone on a hiking group, and I've done this and I've done this, and but it's not working. I would always say, in what condition are you doing those things? With what foundations are you doing those things? With what fears are you doing those things? What vibes are you giving off? I know I can go along to a community thing feeling like I'm not going to belong, I'm not going to fit in, nobody's going to like me. Or I can go along to a community thing thinking, this is so positive, I really like people, I'm really curious about people, I get to meet new people. And I could do the same on dates. So this is why I always bring it back, and I'll sound like a broken record, to in what condition are we doing these things? In what condition are we engaging with people and with the world? In what condition are we dating and looking for love? There were questions or statements about the fact that there are no decent men, women, people out there. They're all taken. Now, I'm pretty sure that if we believe that, that will be true. You know, it's about, I thought that, but I wasn't dating with good foundations. I wasn't dating in a good place. I didn't have any hope. Once I turned that around and really started enjoying my life and really started going on dates with a sense of positivity and enjoyment, curiosity, awareness, good boundaries, good community, it changed. So, you know, I don't want to dismiss our feelings about this, because I know it's hard and it can be hard and it can be demoralizing. But I would always take it back to the basics. You know, do we have our horse before the cart? There was, you know, when I work with clients who are dating online, what I find is we're not showing up authentically. Somebody might say something that we find a bit off-putting or icky or not appropriate. Maybe we let it go because we kind of want it to work out. We don't say anything. We don't speak up. And then something else happens and we kind of let that go because we really want it to work out. We don't show up authentically. And then we end up hurt and hurting because we end up in an inauthentic relationship where there are lots of red flags that we're not flagging up or saying anything about. And the opposite might happen. We might judge people instantly, like not give them a chance, not give them the benefit of the doubt. So it is about setting healthy boundaries with ourselves, with others, making sure that we're not dating with a craving, all those things. There were some fears about joining our lives with people. I had those fears too. Absolutely had those fears, especially if we've been single for a long time, independent, living our lives, living alone. And it takes some adjustment. But I think that's why one of the exercises I do on these courses is to really understand the benefits. Why am I doing this? Why am I trying to have a relationship? What are the benefits? What's at the other end of it? Someone shared that something feels frightening when I'm close to another. Why is this? I can totally relate to that. For me, that's fear of intimacy, fear of vulnerability, fear of being hurt, fear of making a mistake, fear of being abandoned, fear of being rejected, all goes back to childhood. So, you know, I'm close to someone and that's where we get the push-pull. Like, I really want to be with you. I really want a relationship. Don't come anywhere near me. Go away. You're too close. I don't like you. I don't like this about you. And I start picking holes and judging and pushing away. And we don't get where we want to go. Right. I'm gonna start wrapping up so that we can have any live questions. You know, how much to reveal about yourself on a date? You know, you're very intelligent women. The key is to notice, why am I sharing this? Am I sharing this because I feel safe? Because I trust this person? Because it is the right time and stage to open up about my vulnerability? Or am I sharing this because I really want to create an intensity, because I really want to create a connection, even though I don't trust this person yet, even though I'm not sure about this person yet, I have a bit of a craving for connection, a bit of a craving for intimacy, and I'm going to share. So it's about asking yourself, what is my motive and intention about sharing this piece of information, and trusting that you will know at what pace to go, and that's why we do this with support. You know, I'm sure you could give brilliant advice to each other. I mean, and I do this too. I could give loads of brilliant advice to people in lots of other areas and not take it myself. So this is why we work with each other, so that you're not compromising yourself, so that you are someone has your back. How do I say? I mean, there's a lot of fears around dating because we might need to let people down. How do I say I'm not interested? When I go on a date, I'm not interested. How do I say I'm not interested? I think we get to the understanding that we are two adults going on an experiment, and there are no guarantees. And as long as we're not sort of codependent and overly feeling overly responsible for the other person's emotions, which is a sign of codependency. So if we are not in our codependency, I am an adult, this person is an adult, we are choosing to meet on the off chance, because it is quite, it's quite amazing when we hit it off, on the off chance that it's gonna happen between us. And if it doesn't, I take care of my emotions. I am thoughtful and I am honest as much as possible. And that person takes care of their emotions. They're an adult too. And, if you have grown up around childhood trauma, enmeshment, alcoholism, you will struggle with codependency, which is we feel overly responsible for other people's feelings. And that makes dating really painful, because I had that experience myself. But if we have some recovery, if we have some support, we will not feel responsible for others' feelings. And this final question goes quite deep, but I'll leave it here as a what's the word, to entice you to come and do some more work with me. Do we attract people with similar wounds, similar damage? So the majority of, there's a tiny bit of our attraction is smell. So a tiny bit of chemistry is smell. So we're attracted to someone else's smell, and that's like a biological thing. The majority of chemistry is issues, childhood issues, is issues. That's the majority of the chemistry. So yes, we are going to be drawn to people whose issues kind of match our issues, or where we see a possibility of resolution. And we do find resolution in our relationships. We get hurt in relationships. We heal in relationships. We do find resolution in our relationships. But the key is to be able to discern whether this particular relationship is going to re-traumatize me or bring me some resolution, whether it's going to bring healing or re-traumatize me. And we need to discern that. So for example, my husband, he has many traits that my father had. Like, he's not the most emotionally open person. When we first met, he wasn't that great about being in touch with his feelings. He reminded me of my dad a little bit because he was a bit distant, a bit commitment phobic, as I was commitment phobic. So I had to discern, like, is there a opportunity of intimacy here? Does he have a capacity for intimacy? Do I have a capacity for intimacy? When I have a conversation, when I share my needs and wants, when I express my truth, when I express my vulnerability, is it well received? Is he able to express some of his? Am I heard? Can I hear him? Can we communicate? And, you know, we won't know this overnight, but so yeah, we want to try and discern whether we're going to re-traumatize ourselves, end up in the same pattern, or whether there's a capacity for intimacy and we can have some healing. But the key is always, of course, to do some healing first, lots of healing first, because we can't go into a relationship with all our healing needs. We've got to do some of them on our own first. So I'm just gonna, they're the questions I'll finish up with, but I know there's a question about what I've just said. How do you know when you're no longer drawn to someone because of issues? How do you know if you're being drawn to them for healthy reasons? I would always be aware of how I'm feeling. So this might be kind of a simple example, but in my older dating days, I would date men around whom I would feel on edge, a bit insecure, a bit, it was all a bit edgy. It was all a bit, didn't know if I could trust them. And that was a familiar feeling for me, familiar from my issues, feeling a bit unsafe, feeling a bit uneasy. And then I noticed a different feeling with my partner, now husband, a feeling at peace, feeling comfortable, feeling safe. And for me, that showed me that I had resolved some of my childhood issues. I was no longer seeking the familiarity of chaos, drama, pain, feeling of not feeling safe. I was no longer seeking that out because it felt familiar and therefore safe. I was starting to become comfortable with feeling relaxed and at ease and at peace, which for many of us at the beginning feels boring. And that's why we think, oh, this guy is too nice. This person is too nice, because it feels a bit boring compared to chaos and drama and I'm alive. Yeah. So I think it comes with time, it comes with work on yourself, it comes with knowing your fears, knowing your patterns, knowing what your issues are, knowing what issues you might still be trying to resolve. And of course, it takes years, and we don't have to be perfect to be in a relationship. Like I still, in many ways in my life, I'm trying to get my unmet childhood needs met. And I have to catch myself and go, are you still trying to get your unmet childhood needs met through your work, through your clients, through writing your novel, through being famous, through whatever? Are you still trying to get your unmet childhood needs met? How can I meet them myself? And then I can do this work. I can write my novel. I can even be famous if I want to be, but for the right reasons. Like not because I'm trying to get my childhood needs for love, affirmation, validation, connection, to be seen, to be heard. I'm not trying to get those needs met. I'm doing it from a place of solidity and peace. If I haven't answered your question, stay on and we'll come back to it. So I'll stop the recording now. If you're watching this on recording, there should be some links with it about how to get in touch with me, or look at my courses. And it would be a pleasure to work with you now or in the future. So if it's not now, stay in touch, stay on my mailing list. And yeah, so I'm going to stop the recording.